Come on in. It's the Sports Parlor Podcast, brought to you by betJACK.com. And now, please welcome the guys who know it all, Phil Taylor and Nick Pedone.
Welcome on into episode 2 of the Sports Parlor Podcast, presented by betJACK.com. My name is Nick Pedone, joined alongside 2011 Cleveland Browns first-round pick, Phil Taylor. Phil, we'll start here. You kicked my ass in our picks this week. How you feeling?
Feel good, man. I did a lot better than I thought I was going to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was sure that I had Tom picked right and that you had the Rams. We both lost Kansas City. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about all the other headlines and get you our Week 4 picks as well, because you know how the National Football League works, man. There's never a shortage of news. It's another new week. So let's get right into it, because some of the big headlines from last week: the Pittsburgh Steelers, last place in the AFC North. The Kansas City Chiefs, last place in the AFC West. Where you at with kind of how this AFC is?
It's crazy, man. It's definitely a new year, you know, and all these familiar foes that's always at the top, they're struggling right now. It's still the beginning of the season, but like I said, man, they're struggling, and all these, you know, weaker teams that we thought was not going to do so well, they're doing great, man.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this AFC North, division here. We got the Cleveland Browns up top with the Baltimore Ravens, but can't sleep on Cincy at all. They're also 2-1. But the Steelers and Big Ben looked really bad. It was like one of those games. Big Ben kind of looked like your old dog, where like the elevator is broken and he can't take the stairs anymore. And he was falling over his own 2 feet and throwing interceptions to linebackers that was like 5 yards away from him. It was like, Ben, what are you doing? But it's been for like the last 5 or 6 years that like at some point this has to happen. This has to end. And it looks like it's probably the end for Big Ben, and I lost that pick. I thought the Steelers were going to beat Cincinnati, and I said if they didn't, I might not pick Pittsburgh again for the rest of the year. So we'll see how that shakes this week. But, dude, they just look bad.
I told you, man. I don't know if it's Big Ben, but yeah, I mean, he doesn't look the same after all the injuries and things like that. I mean, the line, I don't think they were protecting well for him. He doesn't have a lot of time back there, so it's not 100% all on him. You know what I mean? It's a lot of, moving parts to the offense. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see if they get it together, but Cincy, they look like they're going to be rolling, man. And with those young wide receivers, T. Higgins was down, but, Chase came in and he looked like the Chase he was at LSU.
Yeah, he fooled us all too, dude, because we had all these offseason storylines that like Jamar Chase can't catch the ball. He's dropping it in preseason and training camp. It's like he has butterfingers. What happened to him? Fooled, debunked. Like the guy can catch the ball, news alert. He's a complete threat downfield. And since he looks good.
Oh, yeah, they do, man. And, well, we're going to see, man. We're going to see how they're going to be on Thursday with the Jacksonville coming in. So we'll see.
Cool, yeah, big game. We'll give you our picks on that coming up. But first, we have a new segment on the show tonight. So this was something that we picked out, came out of week 1. There were several times that you said facts, that there was just so many things throughout the show that was facts, and they turned to be true. So this segment, we're going to give Phil the floor, and he's going to give us his facts of the week, and we're going to kind of pick through these and dissect what are our facts of the week as we move on from week 3 and we get into week 4 of the NFL season.
Appreciate it. But yeah, number 1, we got Garrett and Clowney up for real. I mean, I told you last week, man, with Fields coming into Cleveland, I said they're going to welcome him. And that was their win condition. Get after Fields, and he couldn't do anything. It looked bad. Like, now they're calling for Nagy to get fired. Like, it was bad. Like, I don't think Fields had a worse game than that, even in college. And, yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened on that offensive line in Chicago, but, Clowney and Garrett, man, they were rolling, especially Garrett with the 4.5 sacks.
Yeah, and, on that Chicago Bears offensive line, they have kind of the bones of Jason Peters, like probably will be a Hall of Famer at some point, but not at 39 years old. They pretty much called him in off the street. So they got some work to do. Now they're calling for Nagy, like you said. I want Justin Fields to succeed in the NFL. I have really nothing against Chicago. It was an awful first start for him. He's a Buckeye guy. I would like to see him do well, but man, they have a lot of demons that they need to fix. And on Sunday, those two demons were named Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. They were all over the place. You could throw in Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from the linebacker position as well. Second rounder seems like the steal of the draft already, making plays. You love to see that, and I'm excited to see the Browns do it again. Phil, give me your next fact of the week.
We got Steelers and Chiefs in the last place.
That's facts.
We haven't seen that in a while.
No.
So like we just hit on the Steelers, man, with all going on in offense and things like that with Big Ben, and they got to get it going. Mike Tomlin got to really look at these guys and let them know what's going on, and Big Ben got to look at himself, you know what I mean, and just everybody, really. And we got the Chiefs. That was a tough one. I don't think either of us called that. But it's the beginning of the season. You know how that is. And with that team, they're going to be rolling every week no matter what. And like I said, only people can beat them is the Chiefs. So.
Yeah, definitely no reason to hit the panic button on the Chiefs. I'm definitely not. I would like to see it because them, Buffalo, Baltimore, those probably scare me the most as Browns fans. But then the Chiefs go ahead and maybe a panic move, are you calling this? Bring in Josh Gordon, a guy that we're very familiar with here in Ohio, had some great success in college, even more success with the Cleveland Browns. I was campaigning last week, not on this show, but in some of the stuff that I wrote for betJACK.com. Let's kick the tires on Josh Gordon. Let's get a reunion going. Not only is it the Disney kind of storyline that we bring this guy back after everything that he had struggled through mentally, but then he accomplished so much with Brandon Weeden as his quarterback. Let's get him in here with Baker Mayfield. Let's get him in here with Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, and be kind of that deep threat. Not to mention, in doing that, you would keep him away from teams like the Chiefs, like the Ravens, that are looking for a burner downfield. The Chiefs end up with Josh Gordon. Their practice squad stashing him for now. I gotta say, this is just the Clevelander in me, and seeing this happen, time and time again and getting burnt. I would hate to see in an AFC championship game, Cleveland Browns versus Kansas City Chiefs. Close game. It's cold. It's probably in Arrowhead division, conference run through them. And Patrick Mahomes throws the touchdown play where he just flicks it downfield to Josh Gordon. You know how effortlessly he catches those balls in stride and he's off into the end zone. I'm worried about this sign.
It would be a bittersweet only because, me and Josh, we got our history before the NFL.
Yeah.
And it'll be awesome but bad at the same time for the Browns. But, yeah, man, it's crazy that, they would let, him get away again, I should say. But at the same time, it's all about the media sometimes, and a lot of people don't want to take that media hit. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing. But I've learned with the NFL and, and things, you can only control what you can control. And usually if it makes too much sense, they're not going to do it.
That's what drives me crazy is if it makes too much sense, they're not going to do it. If I'm Andrew Berry, even if I'm any of the other competing GMs, if I'm the Buffalo Bills GM, if I'm, in Baltimore, aren't you sitting down and saying, like, yo, let's bring him in 100%. Don't care what anyone says. That's what I would do. I would at least bring him in. It takes nothing to work the guy out and see what he has.
Nobody wants to answer those media questions. That's the only thing. It's not hard. They just don't want to do it.
It drives me crazy. Yeah. Man, we got to have this podcast blow up. Biggest podcast on planet Earth.
Yeah.
That way I buy a professional sports organization and we run it. Like Jerry asked.
You think you could do that?
No.
You can deal with the day-to-day?
Oh, I could deal with the day-to-day. I would need somebody to help me on, like, the football side of things. Like, yes, this is a good idea, like, from a football standpoint, and then I would need somebody to help me from, like, the money standpoint. Like, I went to school for journalism, so math is not my forte. So if we could have somebody figure that out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, and I'd run it exactly like Jerry Jones. I'm the owner. I'm the GM. You might catch me down there on the sideline calling plays.
That, man. If the owner they spend their money, but let the football people do the football stuff.
Yeah, you can't treat
Jerry. They win back in the day, but he got his hands in too many jars in the facility.
All right,
last one. We got NFL taunting rule.
Yeah, last fact. NFL taunting rule is blank. How do you feel about this? Because it's kind of gone on for 3 weeks now.
It's stupid. Like they just taking the fun out of it. They took the fun out a while back with, calling the flags on defense and stuff. Yeah, it's safety, but we know what we signed up for. Let us play.
Yeah, for sure.
And then with the taunting, man, the fans like to see that. You know what I mean? It's more about the fans, if anything. You know what I mean? So it's like the taunting, they just, it's stupid.
Yeah, and that's my thing with it too, is the NFL cares so much, almost too much, about their product. And we just talked about it with the media stuff, and some of these GMs don't want to answer questions about Josh Gordon. We saw it with Kaepernick. They care so much about their product. That's key for them. Well, I don't think taunting ruins their product. You know what I mean? Even if you have young kids that are playing football, like, I don't think Fat Joe that's sitting on his couch watching the game, drinking beers, is getting mad that there's taunting, that there's guys celebrating, because that's getting them excited. That's pulling them into the game and giving them something to root for and to really watch for. So I really hope that they lax this. I thought this was going to be one of those things, kind of like roughing the passer a couple years ago, where it was like, we're going to enforce the hell out of this for the first 14 days of the season, then it's going to completely go away. But the NFL now has said that they see this, they acknowledge that fans don't like it, but they're all about the integrity of the game of football, and they're going to keep calling taunting penalties when they see fit. So I think we're in for some more taunting come week 4. I can see
they got a certain extent. All right, we don't want to completely go away with it because it's 2021. People can get insane with different taunts and things like that. But lax it a little bit.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody doing nothing crazy. You know what I mean? Nobody making no killing gestures or nothing like that. Just relax it.
Yeah. I mean, I think people like the dancing. People like the flexing. You know, people kind of like the stare downs. How many times did we see that with LeBron in the NBA in the finals when he would stare down Steph? Those are, GIFs and posts online that people still use because those are just iconic memories from the game that people look back.
So you saying you're going to throw a 15-yard penalty for me looking at another person?
I wouldn't know. That's cool as hell.
That's what I'm saying, man. It doesn't make no sense, though.
Yeah, definitely. Doesn't make any sense to me either. Phil, great job with your first Phil's Facts. That was a lot of fun.
Appreciate it.
We'll have to get back into that next week, but it's time for us to look forward to our picks. This was a segment that a lot of people really enjoyed in week 3. We're glad that we were able to give you some of that enjoyment for our pick segment. So we will pick it up again in Thursday Night Football. One of our Ohio teams in Paul Brown Stadium is going to be on full display as a battle of number 1 overall picks. Trevor Lawrence versus Joe Burrow. Lawrence not off to the best start in his NFL career, 0-3 with Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars. On the flip side, we talked a little bit about it before, Joe Burrow and those Cincinnati Bengals, they're 2-1, and that's all you can say about them is that they are 2-1.
Hey, that 2-1 wasn't easy to come by for sure for them. But, I mean, they're doing good. You know, you got Burrow. He's really starting to, find his place in this league. And you got the young Jamar Chase that went out there and had a tremendous game, And I think I'm going to go with Cincy on this on behalf of just that offense, how they got it rolling and things like that. Mixon can pick it up a little bit. He did all right, but ain't do the greatest, for the team and for my fantasy. but yeah, I mean, I think Jacksonville's kind of riddled with injuries a little bit with Travis Etienne, and he was supposed to be a key part of that offense. And Urban, it's his first year, and same with Lawrence. So I mean, they got some growing pains to deal with, but I mean, it's early. They're 0-3. They can easily still turn that around.
So Cincinnati in this game, 7.5-point favorites. You would have to have Cincinnati win by over a touchdown in order for a bet to cash on the spread in this game. A lot of people, it feels like in Ohio, are kind of rallying around Joe Burrow for sure. He's a Ohio State guy, grew up in Athens. But then on the flip side of this coin, a lot of people are pulling against Urban Meyer and kind of feels like wanting him to fail in Jacksonville. Do you see this being a short-lived stay for Urban in Florida? Because I kind of see the writing on the wall that he's getting a little bit more frustrated and a little bit more frustrated after each and every one of these losses stacking up. And if he loses to his old boy in Joe Burrow, I think the kind of wheels could fall off this wagon down in Florida.
I don't think necessarily the wheels will fall off, but he's learning that, this is not a college team anymore.
Yeah.
Every game is, me versus you, mano a mano in the NFL. And it's hard to do that, but he's learning. just like everybody else on that team is learning. They got some guys. They're not a bad team by far, but they got to get some things going. You know, as a new offense, new coach, it takes time. You know, I've been through new offense, new coach, new defense. It takes time. You know, you can't just learn everything overnight. So I'm gonna go with Vegas on this one, and I'm gonna go with Cincy.
I'm gonna pick Cincinnati as well. I think their offense really has turned things around. You know, from some of the demons of last year, Joe Burrow's kind of staying upright. Looked like last week he was definitely trusting the knee a little bit more. It was kind of vintage Burrow, moving around and finding Jamar Chase deep. Like you said, Joe Mixon on my fantasy team as well, rumbling out of that backfield. Love some of the things that he's able to do. And I think that's what really drives this team. I think Cincy could be good. I think when you look at the AFC North rankings and you know, obviously runs through Cleveland, runs through Baltimore too, but that third spot is going to be up for grabs with them in Pittsburgh, and Cincy is a force to be, you know, reckoned with. I like the Bengals here as well. I'm riding with Vegas with that 7.5.
Cool.
All right, let's flip on to our next game, the Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears, two teams that had a really rough week 3. When you look at the Chicago Bears, and Justin Fields didn't even have time after the snap to look upfield to find Allen Robinson or Darnell Mooney downfield. It was just a complete train wreck up front for Chicago. And then the Detroit Lions. It literally took an act of God, a Guinness World Record field goal kick for the Detroit Lions to lose that game. There was a missed delay of game. I'm not sure if you saw that. I know sometimes the TV bug is not accurate with what's actually happening on the field, but that was like a 5-second miss. I can't believe that it was that different. To fill you guys in if you missed that game, Lamar Jackson gets the football back with a chance to get their team into field goal range to win the game for the Ravens. Of course, he finds a guy wide open in the middle of Detroit's defense, and they scramble up, spike the ball, and Justin Tucker comes in for a 66-yard field goal. It doinks off the crossbar and in, and the Ravens win that game. Detroit loses. Dan Campbell goes to 0-3. That's tough, but I will say, and I got to give the Lions some love, they play hard, and that's kind of, I feel like, their coaching philosophy. The dude's, you know, a tough guy, bite kneecaps. We heard all that this offseason. I feel like they're going to play these games tough, but Detroit, man, that was a brutal way for them to lose.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you rather get blown out to lose off one that you think, like, 66 yards? Come on, man. But, hey, he broke that record with that, man. That's crazy. And, but, I mean, they played a tough game. Shit. I mean, Tucker had 5 field goals?
Yeah. So they did what they needed to do. You know, you live with those threes in today's NFL.
Yeah,
but
I mean, the defense, Detroit's deep, give it up to them. You know, they kept them out of the end zone, you know, all but once. But you gotta get it done. That 66-yard doink, man. Whew, I can feel their pain. I can feel their pain.
So this game, though, both teams trying to get off track, you know, trying to get that bad taste out of their mouths from what happened a week ago. Chicago Bears at Soldier Field, 3.5-point favorites. Again, we mentioned this last week. When it's this 3.5 point, that pretty much means that it's a toss-up because the home team is usually given 3 points in favor of them. So Vegas doesn't really know which way that this thing is going to go. We also don't know the quarterback thing. So now Matt Nagy is back to doing the thing of it's really going to be a game time decision. We're going to wait until later in the week, and we're going to see, is it going to be Justin Fields? Is it going to be Andy Dalton? I kind of got to say, you got to burn the tape on Justin Fields, and you got to give him another chance as the starting quarterback. And I'm actually going to pick Chicago in this game. I think the Bears could get it done. That defense is okay, and I think if, you know, Justin Fields has time to actually look downfield, he could do things in this game.
I think, like Vegas said, it's a toss-up because both of these teams are coming off of bad losses and they want to redeem themselves. So it's going to be a hard-fought game for sure. But for Chicago and Nagy, I think I'm going to go with them. And on the fact that I don't think he needs to bench Fields. I just think, burn the film, let him go again. I mean, for his first game, it was tough going against, you know, Garrett and Clowney, but it's his first game. You know, he's had more, but let him get his feet wet. You know what I mean?
I agree. All right, so we both got Chicago in that one. let's move forward. The Dallas Cowboys, got to look at them again in prime time. Another victory last week over the Philadelphia Eagles. This one, they're going to host the Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold, 3-0. We gave them a lot of love before the game last week, but big news in Carolina, Christian McCaffrey, the guy that makes that offense go, is out of this game with a hamstring injury. They're not going to put him on the IR, but he's going to be out of this game. Dallas, however, at home in Jerry World, 4.5-point favorite heading into this one against the Panthers.
I'm going to go with Vegas on this one as well.
Same.
Man, the Cowboys in that offense, they're rolling, and they're finding a way to get that offense going with Zeke and Pollard. And that's the thing. And I think they might have took a little bit out of Cleveland's notebook with Hunt and Chubb. So I think they're going to be the 4.5-point favor on that and take that. Carolina, they need to get things going offensively with CMC being out and Darnold. I don't know. I mean, he showed that he could be, their franchise guy, but, you can't be inconsistent. You know what I mean? And he's showing a lot of inconsistencies, and not getting all the receivers the ball. You got hell of receivers out there. You got Anderson, you got Moore. I mean, you got to get these guys the ball.
Yeah, and the Panthers made, a big trade. They get CJ Henderson from Jacksonville. So they were trying to do things. They see that they have a chance. I'm with you, though. It's just the inconsistency at quarterback play, and then you lose your biggest blue chip offensive weapon in Christian McCaffrey against Dallas, who has looked so good. I'm taking the Cowboys there. Let's move rapid fire through that one. This is a doozy of a line. So for people that aren't that into sports betting, 17.5 line for the Buffalo Bills, favored at home against David Culley's Houston Texans. It'll be another game of Davis Mills at quarterback. I held true to my promise in week 3. I did not watch the Texans during that game. This is a complete mismatch of a game. You would need Buffalo to win by 18 points or more to cash money on the spread. That's a gigantic spread. You see that a lot in college, but for this big of a mismatch in the National Football League, it tells me that Vegas and the odds makers think Buffalo is back. They had that ugly week 1 loss, but Josh Allen's firing on all cylinders, and that offense and defense looks really good. I'm scared of Buffalo.
Yeah, this is going to be quick. I'm going with Buffalo on this one because you really don't know what Houston's going to bring.
Right.
You don't know who's going to be the quarterback. Is it going to be Mills? Is it going to be somebody that they picked up off a practice squad or somewhere else? But, yeah, I don't know. And how Buffalo did, Washington's defense after I, praised them so well last week. I'm going to have to go with Buffalo this week. Josh Allen and them guys are looking real good.
Yeah, definitely quick work here for me, too. Houston is kind of, I feel like, is going to end the year in one of those conversations with the Jags and the Jets of, at the end kind of just playing out to see who gets the number 1 pick. Whereas on the flip side of that, Buffalo is going to be really good. So we did this last week where, we explained we're just going to pick these winner losers. It gets complicated with the spread and kind of tracking all of that. 17.5 is a ton of points in the NFL any given Sunday. We know that. Do you see them winning by 18 or more in this game? Is Buffalo's offense that good?
Yeah, I do.
I agree.
And with Josh Allen and him, yeah, they can get it done for sure.
I think they could get it done too. Gigantic spread. Definitely one that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on just because we don't see that all that often. So something to watch for at least in this game because the rest of it is going to be probably a pretty easy dub for Buffalo. We both got them there. Let's head to this. Kind of 2 interesting teams. Miami Dolphins at home, Hard Rock Stadium, playing host to the 0-3 Indianapolis Colts. I really didn't think the Colts would be 0-3. Carson Wentz definitely looks hurt. 2 bad ankles, not just one. The Dolphins, however, are without their starting quarterback. No Tua. It's Jacoby Brissett. Hot take alert. I don't think Brissett's that far of a drop-off from Tua. I think he's good.
Oh, yeah. He was in, what's his name for so long?
Yeah.
So it's like, he can play. Just let him. You know what I mean? But, like, at the same time, the Dolphins that have Tua out, it's the next man up. And Jacoby, he knows what to do. He's a veteran QB. And he's going to go in there and do what he got to do no matter the outcome.
So this is a complete toss-up here, and I really don't know what to make of this game either.
1.5. I thought it was only 3.
Yeah. So 1.5, they're all the way confused. You usually get 3 at home in a toss-up, so they are even taking less than that, which tells me that they think the Colts have a chance with an injured Carson Wentz. I'll take the underdog. Give me the Colts in this one to get Carson Wentz back on track. We know what he's capable of. He's definitely playing hurt. I think Miami just was a little bit of all over the place in that overtime game. That playing it in overtime is always tough. Playing that extra quarter, it was almost a tie. I thought we were gonna have our first tie of the year. So give me the Colts here. I really have no rhyme or reason. Just I think they got to find a way to get Carson Wentz back on track, because they are paying the guy a lot of money, and they could end up giving up a first-round pick for him if he plays like over 75% of the snaps. So they need to get him right. This is a get-right game for Wentz.
Yeah, for them, it's definitely a get-right game. But I'm going to go Miami on this one. And the fact that I think, with Will Fuller being back and coming off of that suspension, just being another weapon out there that they can throw to, and I think they can get it done.
Alrighty, let's move past that one and another get-right game here as the Kansas City Chiefs. They got a ton going on. We talked about it in the open. They signed Josh Gordon. We are both very pro that we won't see Josh Gordon in this game, as the Chiefs will be on the road against Jalen Hurts' Philadelphia Eagles. Man, so the Chiefs have a ton going on. You got the Josh Gordon thing. He's on the practice squad. You possibly go into this game without your head coach. I feel like Andy Reid will be okay. They, had to take him to the hospital after that loss against the Los Angeles Chargers. He'll probably be on the sideline, but it's got to be a chaotic week with all this going on. You're down a head coach. You bring in a new receiver and a polarizing guy. And then the storyline is you are in sole possession of last place of that AFC West. Chiefs got to find
a media circus.
Yeah, and they got to find a way to tune that out. Am I right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I said, it's gonna be a media circus with all the different distractions with the coach, the new player, being last in the division. It's gonna be tough, and they're gonna be this week of practice for the Chiefs is probably gonna be one of the toughest ones of the year.
Yeah,
just to get these guys ready, and I'm gonna go with Kansas City on this, because last night I felt like that offensive line for the Eagles, man, they got to do a little better, man, because they got to get freaking Sanders going. He didn't have the greatest game.
No.
They got to get him going more. Then you got all these first-round picks you spend at wide receiver, and you're not getting them the ball. I don't think they threw a ball to Devonta Smith to halfway through the second quarter. Like, I mean, you can't do that, and I don't know who's calling the plays over there, but yeah, they need to figure it out.
Yeah, definitely pretty maddening. I'm going with you on this one. I'm surprised that it's still that low. It's 5.5. I get that they're in last place, but the Eagles are fine. They play in an easy division, so they're going to win a lot of games, but they're really not that good. And it's Kansas City. This is going to be one of those games where we could look back towards the end of the season. It's like, damn, the Chiefs had a slow start, but they really were able to turn it around after this one. I'm going to take the Chiefs on the road here as well. Let's tune into this game where the Giants are 0-3, and they're going to be on the road in the first time New Orleans gets to see Jameis Winston as their starting quarterback. Jameis looks really good. Saints, 8-point favorites against Joe Judge's 0-3 Giants. I got some heat for this last week because my lock of the week almost lost, mind you, because it took a Justin Tucker 66-yard doink off the crossbar to go in for my lock of the week to be right. I want this one lock of the week. Give me Jameis. Give me the Saints. Jameis looks phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to go with Jameis on that one too, man. He's doing great. They're rallying the guys. Jameis is rallying that offense. You got DeMario rallying that defense. I mean, they're doing awesome job. And, Peyton is doing a great job coaching.
Yeah.
I just think New York is they're still trying to find their identity. You know what I mean? They got Saquon still trying to find his legs, trying to get things going. He had a better game last week, but yeah, I'm going to have to go with New Orleans on this one.
Yeah,
sure.
It's weird. Like the Giants, I can't really put my finger on it, and they play in an easier division, and people were kind of saying it could be a big year for Daniel Jones. Definitely a prove it year. He's trying to get, another contract as a first-round pick, and some of those receivers too, Slayton you bring in, and Kenny Golladay you bring in. They just cannot figure anything out. I can't diagnose what's going on with the Giants, where on the flip side of this, I see a team with the Saints. You lose Drew Brees, who is going to step right into Canton as soon as he's allowed, and they're rolling on all cylinders with Sean Payton. So I'm picking the Saints with you in that one.
Easy.
Give me the Saints. Give me the 8. That should be an easy game.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's move into this one. Probably another easy game for us to both pick. The New York Jets in New Jersey will play host to the Tennessee Titans. Titans kind of back on track here in the AFC. The Jets look really bad. I'm trying to play devil's advocate, trying to find something to talk about. I know they have their coach in Rob Saleh kind of running the bleachers before the game and gets himself fired up. Rob, you're not playing in the game, man. Quit running up and down the bleachers.
I've known coaches like that.
You're not playing in the game, dude. You're standing on the sideline. Let's not run up and down the bleachers. Let's try to find out a way to win some football games here because you have a young quarterback. You spent the second overall pick in Zach Wilson, and he's Mr. INT. And then last week he decided to be Mr. Sack, and he was on the ground a million times. So the Jets got to figure it out. This could again be another lock of the week as the Titans look good. Derrick Henry's there. Titans 7.5-point favorites in this on the road as Vegas just has. Vegas and me have no faith in the Jets.
Oh yeah, I don't either because I had all the faith in Robert Saleh.
Yeah,
when he got the job, and I thought it would be a great coming off of how he had San Francisco's defense, but he ain't got the same guys. It's different. It's definitely different. Yeah, I'm going with Tennessee on this one. Derrick Henry going to keep on rolling.
What do you make of that? Some of the defensive head coaches, we see it a lot. Talk about a guy that we had here in Cleveland, Greg Williams, and he was with the Jets as well. Fiery personalities. We talk about running up and down the bleachers. With Greg Williams, you had the come get some thing. That was kind of his mantra. Does that fire teams up, or does that kind of like get old? I feel like it's cool like for 3 weeks, and it's cool when it's going well, but then when you have a really tough, wall in the middle of the year, your rookie kind of hits a wall, and then the come get some stuff kind of falls on deaf ears at some point.
No, I don't really fall on deaf ears. I just think with guys tough like that, I think the practices just get harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you need that. You need that type of coach that tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. You
Right.
don't want a coach that always soften everything up, kind of find a way out of all the, bad things to say, not what you what you need to hear. So, yeah.
Definitely. Okay, we'll move past that game. Give us both the Titans there. Phil, your football team on the road, Washington against the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta was able to get their first win of the year. Did Arthur Smith. Atlanta looked good. Football team on the road with Taylor Heineke. Still 1.5-point favorites on the road against Atlanta in Atlanta. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Washington's going to take this one because that defense, and if you saw the interview that Chase had after the game, he's bad, and this week they're going to get it together in practice. I know this defensive line well. That wasn't a good game for them. They know it, and they're going to come to, say practice this week ready to roll. And Heineke, I said Heineken like it's a beer. But, yeah, man, he going to go out there and do what he do. He out there having fun, man. He going to go out there and do what he do, man. I believe in him.
Yeah, definitely. Backup quarterback. That's all you could ask him to do, is kind of do his job, do what he can do, and do his thing. I'm actually going to go with Atlanta in this game at home. I like some of the offensive pieces, and they were able to kind of slowly start to figure things out, get Calvin Ridley involved. You need him to be the number one receiver with no Julio, get Mike Davis going in that run game. Matt Ryan is good. People sleep on Matty Ice. He now is tied with Matt Stafford for 39 game-winning drives. This should be a close game with Atlanta's defense, with Washington's defense. Like, what gives? Kind of Atlanta's got this high fly offense. Washington's got a really good front. I'll play devil's advocate here. Give me Atlanta in a close one. Let's head to Los Angeles, new SoFi Stadium. The Rams look like one of the best teams in the National Football League, and they're going to have another really high-powered offense. Another West Coast team in town with the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray looks good. AJ Green had AJ Green is still in the league kind of game, and he balled out for the Cardinals. Cliff definitely looks good, and this is going to be a close game. I think Matt Stafford is legit. I think we could see Matt Stafford playing his first Super Bowl this season. I'll probably take the Rams here, but I like Arizona. I'll call it. I'll call it. I like the Rams to come out of the NFC. I do.
You taking Arizona on this one?
No, I'm gonna take the Rams.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rams too, man. Hey, Stafford looking great, man. Cooper Kupp putting up tremendous numbers, man. I don't offensively. It's hard. Who's out there really like stopping them? You know what I mean? And then defense. You don't even got to talk about the defense. You got Aaron Donald. You got Jalen Ramsey back there. I mean, they got a squad. And don't get me wrong, Arizona, they got a squad as well. With Kyler Murray and those guys coming there, D Hop. They definitely gonna have the Rams gonna have their defense out there, and they're gonna put their money's worth. So yeah, but I'm still going with Rams though, man. What I've seen this season in the games I've watched, the Rams offense is powerful.
Yeah,
I think they got this one.
It's one of those things for me. It's like I cannot pick against them until they give me a reason to, and it's just so high powered. And maybe this is the game because, the Cardinals are good. They got their own playmakers, like you said, D Hop, AJ Green, now Christian Kirk emerges. Defensively, again, formidable. JJ Watt up front. You have Chandler Jones, who went ahead and got 5 sacks in the opener, hasn't done a damn thing since. So
pretty even teams, man.
Yeah, I could always respect that, but very even teams. I'm gonna take the Rams though until they give me a reason not to. Give me the Rams, and hot take, give me the 5.5 too. I think they could win by a touchdown or more.
I think if they win, I think they can win by more. But yeah, I'm gonna take Vegas on that as well.
Pretty close one there. Let's move forward. This should be a phenomenal game, actually, as the 3-0 Broncos look to stay undefeated in Mile High. Very difficult place to play against the Baltimore Ravens, who have been up and down. You got to call it for what it is. They're 2-1, but they almost lost to the Detroit Lions, so this could really be a toss-up. Denver, I was shocked to see 1.5-point favorites. So even though Baltimore is really good, they got Lamar Jackson, former MVP. They got a nice defense, even though it's banged up. Vegas likes what Teddy's doing out there in Mile High, and they're going to make the Broncos 1.5-point favorite here.
Oh, yeah. I'm a believer in Teddy, man. He been through a lot, but he's still rolling, man.
Yeah.
And I believe in him. But for this one, man, I'm gonna go Baltimore. They're hungry. And only win condition I see for Broncos is Teddy goes out there and exposes the injuries in the secondary of the Ravens. But other than that, they're with the Broncos defense, Vaughn and those guys, they can try to contain Lamar, but I just think it's just going to be too much for him.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a high-scoring game. And an interesting fact here, albeit Denver, 1.5-point game's favorite, they're 3-0. None of the 3 teams that they've played have won a game yet. So they've played, their opponents are a combined 0-9 this year. However, I think that's what you got to do. You can't look at that. You can only play who they put in front of you, and you use that momentum to kind of push you through. I got to pick the favorite here. Give me Denver at home in Mile High. I can't pick Baltimore. Give me Teddy. I'm riding with him in this matchup. Give me Denver staying right and really kind of exposing some of that Baltimore injury / can Lamar throw the football? We'll find out in this one. Give me Denver. All right, here we go.
Ooh.
We got to talk about it. This could be a beatdown. Green Bay Packers back at home.
They only gave him 7, though.
They only gave him 7. Packers will be at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We talked about the Steelers a little bit in our open as they are in sole last place of the AFC North. However, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers is back. He's locked in. My Aaron Rodgers fear meter is very low. At the beginning of the season, it was very high. At the drop of a hat, this guy could quit and he could be the new host of Jeopardy. But after what I saw in prime time against the 49ers, it was one of those games where they gave him the ball back with 37 seconds left. Even though they had no timeouts, I was like, I could legitimately shut off this TV right now and know that the Packers won this football game because Aaron Rodgers is that dude. He's playing a bad Pittsburgh team. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there in writing. It's a bad Pittsburgh team, and the Packers are going to win this one on their home field easily. Give me Green Bay.
Yeah, quick and simple. I'm going to go with Green Bay on that one. Unless the Steelers can pull something out of the hat and get that defense to rally around and stop Green Bay's offense with, Jones and Adams, which I don't think they can do. But like I said, any given Sunday, you never know. But I'm going to still go with Vegas on this one. I'm going to go with Packers.
Yeah, give me the Packers too. 7-point favorites at home. You talked about it. Seems kind of low. I like the Packers big here. Let's talk about the Steelers for a brief second before we move on to the next game. Pittsburgh fans are down bad. They are. They're sick. I see some of those radio hosts, Pitt Bayless out there in Pittsburgh. They're struggling. Do you see a point in this season where they could start to call for Ben and, maybe get Ben out of there, play Haskins, play Rudolph? What point Heinz Field is a rowdy place. Do they start booing Ben? Because it seems like things are going to get ugly for Pittsburgh before they get better. They have Green Bay. They play Cleveland in a couple weeks on Halloween. That's going to be an electric game. They play Denver. They have some very difficult opponents coming up, and I could really see this getting ugly for the Steelers. And to be completely honest with you, I hope it does.
the Cleveland in me, yeah. But at the same time, man, Ben has done so much for that city. I just personally don't think that they would, call for his head that quick at least.
Yeah, we'll see.
I would say give it to week 8.
Oh, you think they could start booing him in week 8? It's tough. It's tough because
fans will be fans, but
yeah.
When it comes down to that organization, Ben is just more than just starting quarterback right now. He's done so much for that organization, and I just think, out of respect, they won't boo him right now because you can't put it all on him. He's getting sacked, so he needs to be protected too. But he's getting up there in age. I thought that they wasn't going to sign him back,
right?
You know what I mean, in the offseason. So I say give it week 8, and if they below 500, by then, yeah, you can let bygones be bygones.
I'm over here smiling like a little kid. Give me the Packers at home. Give me the Packers big. Big Ben, it's been real. It's been fun. It hasn't been really fun, and it'll be a happy retirement for you. This is the game that everybody wants to talk about.
Nice.
Sunday Night Football. We see the promos. The National Football League has got Adele a contract, and hello from the other side. It will be Tampa Bay and Tom Brady on the road going into Gillette Stadium against Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. This is going to be an emotional game. I don't feel, an attachment either way to either of these teams. But when they had that commercial of the hello from the other side, I was like, dude, like this has me like in my feels like Brady is going back to his old team. It's crazy. High emotion game.
It's going to be a point to prove on both sides. It's a homecoming for Brady as well because, New England always probably be his number one home. But I'm going to go with Tampa on this. Brady already proved he didn't need Belichick to win a Super Bowl. And now he's going to show Belichick he don't really need him at all anymore. So, not in a disrespectful way, but, yeah, I'm going to go with Tom on this one, and I'm going to take that 5.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take the 5.5 too. I definitely, you leave the emotions out of it. Obviously, Tampa's the better team here. Patriots going through a little bit of a reload. We could call it a reload and not a rebuild. They have what they want to be their franchise guy in Mac Jones. They have a couple pieces on both sides of the football. But Tampa Bay, you got your key guys that keep the thing going. You got Godwin. Evans, AB could be back in this game if they could get him off that COVID list. And I think Tom is just so far into his career that he's not going to let the emotions run too high, as neither is Bill on his sideline, and he's going to have those guys rallied. But for Mac Jones in prime time, and then with the storylines and everything, trying to be the next Brady and fill those shoes, there's going to be too much going on for that poor kid. I like Tampa, and I like the 5.5 there.
Oh, yeah. It's easy.
That's going to be a fun game to watch, though.
Definitely going to be fun. And, I think a lot more people than they expect are going to be tuned in to watch this game as well.
Yeah, definitely. The homecoming, we both got Tampa Bay, though.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's move forward to Monday Night Football. This will be a good underrated matchup too, as the Los Angeles Chargers are going to be riding high after that victory against the Kansas City Chiefs in Week 3. But then they also have a formidable opponent here in October, John Gruden. Now we have October John Gruden and September John Gruden. both very good. But when you start getting John Gruden in November, December, you give him a couple months to really get his hands on that team. That's when things start to go bad for the Raiders. So, well, again, it's the same with the Cowboys, like you said last week. We'll see what they're doing in Week 8. Right now, the Raiders look fine. Right now, the Chargers look really good. And this is going to be a really good Monday Night Football game.
I'm going to go with the Vegas on this one as well, man. I like the young guy in Herbert and how he's throwing that ball. And you got Eckler, a pass catcher and a runner. You got Keenan Allen out there. I think they're doing great. But that defense, man, with Bosa and those guys, Derwin James, I just think, man, they're just more well-rounded as a team. Yeah. And I'm gonna have to go with the Chargers.
Yeah, so Chargers 3.5-point favorites in this game. I think this could be one of those games where it's like reality strikes for Vegas, where it's like, we're good and we have things that are good and things that we could look back on, but we're not on that next level yet. And like you said, Justin Herbert's a good young guy. They got all the pieces that you would want and need defensively. The Chargers are a good team. I think a lot of people kind of slept on them this offseason because they didn't really make any bold, brash moves. But I'm riding with you. I'll go with the favorites. I like the Chargers at home, and I like the 3.5 too. I think if they win, they could win by more than a field goal, even though October Gruden likes to keep these games close.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, it's the act that you've all been waiting for. Sunday, 1 o'clock game on the road in Minneapolis as the Cleveland Browns will look to improve to 3-1 on the season against the Minnesota Vikings. Cleveland just 1.5-point favorites in this game. I'll be honest, I thought that was a little bit low.
It is low, knowing that how the offense has been moving and how the defense has been playing great the last couple of weeks. But you can't hide the fact that Kirk Cousins has been throwing that thing. And even though Cook might be still out, you got what's name came in there. Madison came in there and took up his slack like it was nothing. But it's I think Cleveland win it. And I would have went higher than 1.5 points, but I think that's the only thing Vegas was factoring in is that passing attack that Minnesota has, So we'll see. But I'm definitely going to have to go with Cleveland, and their win condition is going to be Myles Garrett and those guys getting the Cousins. I played next to Cousins, and he can be rattled. You know what I mean? So those guys get after him, rattle him. Then he won't be able to get downfield to Thailand and those guys.
I think playing devil's advocate here, I think the only thing that you could go in favor for Minnesota in this game is if Kevin Stefanski somehow gets rattled. We haven't seen it yet with Stefanski on the sideline, but this is a homecoming of sorts for him as well. We talked about it, with Bill Belichick and the Brady homecoming. There, you got guys that are familiar with Stefanski and how he likes to run that thing, and Mike Zimmer and Gary Kubiak. It's kind of his offense that Stefanski adapted. I'm just at a point, though, with Kevin Stefanski and with this Browns team where I see them, Baker dropping back and getting ready to set up one of these screens to Chubb or Hunt, and I'm like, this thing breaks for 25 yards every single time because the execution is just so down pat. You got Wyatt Teller and Joel Bitonio, upfield, making their blocks. The timing is just executed perfectly. Even though Minnesota has those dudes on those sidelines that's familiar with this scheme, that's familiar with how Stefanski runs things, it's just the talent for the Browns can't be slept on. I like the Browns here, obviously. I like the 1.5, obviously. I thought that was tremendously low. When I saw it yesterday, I did one of these where I checked my eyes. I'm like, this is really 1.5, but I think it's going to be good, a really good game. Like you said, Kirk could put up some points, but so could the Browns. And in that controlled environment in the Dome, it's going to be a shootout.
It's going to be a fun game to watch, for sure.
All righty. Well, we both got the Browns.
Yep.
That's going to be a lot of fun. And this one has been a lot of fun. Episode 2 of the Sports Parlor in the books. Phil, you want to give them your disclaimer on your picks?
It's not our fault if you lose your money.
It is not our fault if you lose your money. However, we got to put out there, you got to ride with Phil's picks because you're on fire.
Man, it's beginner's luck, man. Beginner's luck. But man, I know a little something, but not nothing crazy.
We'll see how things shake out this week. Obviously, we'll definitely be tuned in to that Cleveland Browns Minnesota Vikings matchup on Sunday. If you enjoyed this, make sure to show us some love on social media. follow Apple Pods, subscribe on Spotify. Make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel as well. You can see us in studio. We're presented by betJACK.com. Go check out betJACK. You'll see all the picks that we make on this show and a ton more of just like betting insight and analysis, and they get so deep into those lines. So make sure to check out betJACK.com. And this has been a lot of fun, Phil. We'll have to track our picks and see how they did. I'm looking forward to doing this again next week.
Oh, yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Cool. We thank you guys all so much for listening, and we'll see you again next week.